Hey, Mark, weren't you in that board member recruiting class?
Yeah, hi Kate. You're in that condo association, right?
That's right. We have a 96-unit condo complex. It was built in the 70s, but it has some great amenities, even for a smaller community, if I do say so myself. If I remember right, you're on the board of a large single-family home community?
Yep, 2,000 homes plus a clubhouse.
Wow.
What'd you think of that class?
I love how they were focusing on the positives of being on a board. I mean, so many times everything is about the problems and the issues and how to deal with that, and they leave out how much fun it can be. I find it so rewarding to help my neighbors and improve our community just by being on the board. I know when I first joined the board, I wasn't always certain what to do. I mean, it's a challenging situation. I was worried I was going to make a mistake. And now I'm working with a new board member who's concerned about the same thing. I mean, we're not general contractors, so how are we going to know about whether the contract to fix the perimeter wall is correct or not, you know?
Yeah, I like how the instructor really pushed the business judgment rule. I mean, you don't have to be an expert in everything. You know, the idea is that you get experts, you get their opinions, and you make decisions based on your own common sense. You really can't go wrong that way. How'd you like the fact that he really hit on transparency and ethics?
There's this idea out there, even today, that HOA boards are all about secret meetings and decisions that only help friends of the board. Have you gotten that one in your community? Other than the executive session where you're dealing with things that are about an individual's right to privacy, everything is open. All the information is out there. All somebody has to do is ask or pay attention. In our community, we use newsletters and social events to try and keep the discussion rolling and make people aware of why we're doing different things. This new board member, though, that I was telling you about, he struggled a little bit with it. He almost didn't join because, get this, he heard that being on the board was a part-time job, 20 hours a week minimum. And I gotta tell you, I'd heard the same thing too. I had to talk to him quite a bit to convince him that it's as much time as he wants to put into it that makes a difference. I'm really struggling a little bit to help him out. What kind of recommendations do you give to a new board member? How do you tell them to get prepared? What do you do?
Well, the best advice that I give to a new board member is to read the board packet really carefully before the meeting, well before the meeting, and ask the community managers any questions that you might have. Because when you come into the board meeting, you're in the open board meeting in front of all the homeowners, you really need to look like you are well briefed on what's on the agenda. And that way the homeowners, they get a feeling that you're making sound decisions.
Right, that makes sense.
But I guess for our association, we're kind of new, we've got on-site management, so I don't think we have a lot of the same challenges that you face having an older community. Plus you have portfolio management. How does that work?
Well, a portfolio manager and a dedicated manager are essentially the same thing, except dedicated works with one community that has 2,000 homes, and portfolio works with 10 communities that have 100 homes each. The HOA still gets the same support and commitment that they would have from a dedicated manager, but sometimes we've got to kind of help the manager along, remind him of the unique characteristics of our community. And, because we're a smaller community, we have to make adjustments to things like committees. With fewer homeowners, you can't have an extensive number of committees, you can't have 10 people on each committee. So we kind of sorted it down to the Architectural Review Committee and the Social Club. And new board members have to participate on one or the other. They don't always realize that. They get worried that they've got to be the chief in charge of the committee, but that's not the case. It's really just they're the conduit between the committee and the board. It helps with communication. I wish our entire board had been able to come to this event. I love that they're able to get this added education, but they couldn't all make it, especially if my new board member had come. Like many of us, he thought that once he joined the board, he'd be able to make everyone happy. And you and I both know that's not possible. He's struggling dealing with the criticism, and I don't know, it's kind of rough on him sometimes. He has a hard time keeping a cool head. I gotta agree with him, I find it tough myself. Do you have any advice that you give on how to deal with the grumpy homeowners?
Well, our association attorney has this great line. He says, I can lose my temper in a board meeting, but at the end of the board meeting, I go home. You have to live with these people.
Well, that's true.
And it's so true. You're going to see these people in the grocery store and at the parks. So it's really important to treat your homeowners with respect, especially in stress situations like hearings. We had a homeowner come in, and what I like to do actually is I like to break the ice. When they come in and I say, "Howdy, homeowner. Come on in. Thank you for taking the time to to spend with us today."
That's a good idea.
It's kind of an icebreaker. But we had this one homeowner that came in, and she was really upset because she got this violation for having fencing in her backyard that exceeded the wall height. And the reason that she did that is because she has this dog that gets out. So I asked her, well, how does your dog get out? And she talked about how she has this dog that has police training, and it knows that it can jump over a 6-foot fence. So we spent a few minutes talking about this amazing dog, and by engaging with the homeowner, we were able to kind of, turn what could have been an adversarial situation into something that, more of a calm conversation, to really get things done. That kind of thing really makes a difference, I believe. Those are the kinds of things that I learned when I was in my decal class. And you've taken some of the same classes, right?
Yeah, I have. Here's what I love about those CAI classes. They're not just for board members. Anybody, every homeowner can go. And it gives them a really great overview of exactly what it takes to run an HOA. Some of the classes deal with the technical side of the HOA, like creating projects or reading financials, everybody's favorite thing. And then there are these great classes on communication and developing community spirit. Those are my personal favorite. The decal classes, Mark, those are where I learned about the role of the Nevada revised statutes and how NRS 116 can impact every situation that we've got in the HOA. The first thing we were able to apply from those meetings was the actual pre-board meeting. And I know that sounds a little crazy. But what we do is we have a meeting the week before our regular board meeting where everybody can attend. Because we know not everybody can get off work and they can't all make it to the actual board meeting, but at our pre-board meeting, what we do is we just sit and talk about what's on the agenda and the projects that are going on and what's happening in the community. It gives everybody an opportunity to discuss it and to bring their concerns to light. But the other thing too is it lets us as a board draw on the expertise of every one of our homeowners. I mean, we have contractors and CPAs and customer service people that can really help when we're developing that community spirit. It kind of all goes back to that communication and transparency thing that we never would have thought of before we went to those decal classes. I don't know about you, but I like being on the board. And I'm proud of what we've accomplished. It's nice to know we're making a difference in our community.
Yeah, it's not a lot of opportunity to make a positive difference in your community. Looks like the board do's and don'ts session is getting started.
Okay.
Let's go get our seats.
All right, thank you.